Hello everyone. We are going to talk about the topic about mastering APA 7th edition, the citing sources and formatting reference in research paper. So we're going to talk about the APA, or the American Psychological Association, and we will use or discuss about the 7th edition. So this is the latest edition for the APA format. And it is very important that we're going to discuss on this because you are going to cite your sources for your research paper. So proper citation and formatting in research paper are paramount for several crucial reasons. So first important reason for having this citing sources and formatting references, the citation it will serve as a testament to intellectual honesty. So the idea that you are going to take from other authors, when you cite the source, it means that you have this, you acknowledge that the idea is not from your own idea, but it comes from the idea of other person. So you acknowledge the contribution of others and preventing plagiarism. Okay. So by attributing these ideas and information to their rightful origin, so the researchers uphold ethical standards and maintain the integrity of their work. So this is also one of the ethical standard that you are going to cite the source of the idea, for example, that you are going to put on your study. That is the first reason. And then the second reason is citation provide a transparent trail for readers to validate and explore the sources that underpin the research. And it also fosters the credibility and trust in the scholarly community. Since you're going to cite the source of the information or the data that you put in your research paper, so for example, if I am the reader, once I read your research paper, and you cite a source coming from a known author, so you have this integrity, or I mean the quality or credibility of your study. And also we need to have, if we will cite a source, we need to have this proper format, particularly in a reference list that you're going to put in the last part of the manuscript of your paper, and it will ensure that the information is presented in a clear and standardized manner, allowing for easy navigation and verification. So you're not just going to copy paste the information, but you need to change the format according to the 7th edition APA format. Okay, and additionally, adherence to the specific citation style such as APA 7th edition, it will reflect a commitment to academic rigor and professionalism. And ultimately, proper citation and formatting not only uphold the principles of academic integrity, but also contribute to the clarity, transparency, and reliability of the scholarly communication. So those are the important terms. The clarity, first one, clarity. The second one is the transparency. The third one is reliability. Okay, those three terms were very important. So that is why we're going to discuss on this part, because majority of your information that you're going to put in your study, you will have this formatting of the APA 7th edition. So in your chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3, we can found that um, the information that you need to take from other authors, you need to cite the sources. Okay, so all the information in our research paper is not based only in our own idea. It must be come from the other idea from the other authors also, especially those professionals. That is why it is very important that we need to master the APA 7th edition. Okay, about the citing sources and formatting of the reference list for your research paper. Okay, so there is an available book in the online, but there is a payment for accessing this online book. And you can also have this hard copy of the book in the bookstore. Okay, so again, the latest edition that the American Psychological Association is using is the seventh edition. So we will also apply this one. We need to use this format or the APA style, the seventh edition for your research paper. So for a little background about the seventh edition of the APA, so again, the meaning of APA is the American Psychological Association, and we are going to use the 7th edition. So this is the latest version of the APA style guide and a set of rules and conventions for writing and formatting the scholarly papers. So this 7th edition was released in the year 2019, and it represents an update from the 6th edition. Okay, since this is the latest, the 7th edition, so the previous edition is the 6th edition, incorporating the changes to better address the evolving landscape of academic writing and publishing. And also, the notable updates include the guidelines for handling electronic sources, increased flexibility in authorship attribution, and more streamlined approach to citing different types of sources. For example, I think in the first edition, second edition, they don't include the online sources, since at that time there is no, for example, online sources of these articles. So just using the hard copy like newspaper or any books in the library. But as the years goes by, there is a changes of the styles, or there's a changes of the structure of this area. So to have this more accessible, there are many authors or publishing company. They publish their article not just in the hard copy basis, but also in online. So there is a revisions, and then in our time today, the latest edition is the seventh edition, and it was published or approved in the year 2019. So this is the latest. Again, the seventh edition is emphasizes the exclusivity, providing guidance on citing a wider range of sources, and also addressing the issues related to bias-free language. And it continues to be widely adopted in the social sciences, also in psychology, and other academic disciplines, and offering researchers a standardized and comprehensive framework for citing sources, formatting papers, and promoting clarity and consistency in scholarly communication. Okay, so we need, again, our goal for this topic, we need to master the APA 7th edition. So we're going to proceed with the remaining slides in this presentation. First question is, why cite sources? Why we need to cite the sources? So the answer for this question is to acknowledge the intellectual property and avoiding plagiarism. So again, it is not allowed to take an idea coming from other person without acknowledging them. So it is like you steal a property. For example, you are not asking permission to use the, for example, the motorcycle of your friends. That is considered stealing. Okay, and it is not a ethical um, action, for example. So also the intellect of a person, the idea of a person, that is considered also as a property. So in order to avoid some problems with regards to that thing, we need to cite the source. For example, you acknowledge that this idea is not coming from your own idea, but rather this idea is coming from other person. So that's the purpose why we need to cite the source. You will acknowledge the intellectual property of other person and also avoiding plagiarism. The second answer for this question is, it provides a credibility and supporting the validity of your research. For example, you have a claim in your chapter 2. Okay, so you're going to cite a source that will back up your claim. So it will provide credibility and it will support the validity of your research. For example, your name is not, you have known, your name is not yet known in academic discipline, for example, or research discipline. But if you will cite a source from the notable authors, so the readers will have this trust that your claim is really true because it is supported from other authors that is already they already have the name in the academic disciplines or in the articles. Okay. And also why we need to cite source because it allows the readers to trace and verify your sources. For example, you have this claim of this certain thing and you cite the source. So the purpose of citing sources is that, for example, if I'm the reader, I will verify um, if this author really says something on your research paper. I mean, in the something area, okay, of the study that they have. So the readers will have this opportunity, just like a transparency or verification, that this particular author is really talking about in this particular topic. So it allows the readers to trace and verify your sources. Okay, so now let's proceed to the in-text citation. So what is or what are the data or information that needs to have in the citing the sources? First, you need to put, important here is you need to put first the author and then the date, okay, date and have this citation system, okay. So for example, in this one, the author and then comma and the year. For example, we will apply this one. You need to put in the parentheses, for example, if the author is Kano. And next is we have this comma and then the year, okay, year, for example, 2024. And then close parentheses. Okay, this is one of the example of a in-text citation. It means that you cite a source in your research paper, for example, in chapter 1 and in chapter 2. Next is important here is the parenthetical citation examples for direct quotes and paraphrasing. For example, you have this direct direct quotes from the other sources. You have these parenthetical citations examples. And the third one is including page numbers for direct quotes. If you have these direct quotes, you need to include also the page number. So I'll show you some example of the in-text citation. For example, if we only have the one author, you need to write, again, put in the parentheses, the last name of the author, comma, and then the year. Okay. And how about if we have two authors? If we have two authors, you need to put again in parentheses, Johnson, and we will use this shortcut of and. Okay. Just emphasize here. Examples of and the second author. Same, we have this comma and the year. The third one, for example, if we have these three or more authors, just erase on this part. So for example, we have these three or more authors, we need to use the word et al. Okay, so we'll put the last name, et al, period, comma, and then the year. Some major mistakes of the students, they will put period after the letter T. So that is wrong. So you need to avoid putting period in the it part. Only in the al. Okay, al. So these are the examples of in-text citation. How about we have this group author? Okay, there's no, we should not use the last name of the author. For example, here, American Psychological Association, and then comma, 2021. And how about the multiple, for example, here, others is the multiple works by the same author. For example, there are two articles written by the same author. For example, you need to cite here, for example, Brown, comma, 2017 A. It means that that's the first article that they have, comma, and 2017 letter B. It means that they published this with the same author with a different article. Okay, we have this the same here. For example, they publish the same article but they have this different title. Now let's proceed. So this is the examples of in-text citations. And now let's proceed to quoting and paraphrasing. So for quoting, exact wording enclosed in quotation mark. Okay, so this is the direct quotation of a certain idea. So for example, I will put here Kano eats banana. If you have this direct quote, you need to put or enclose with a quotation mark. You need to put quotation mark. Okay, it means that this words, this phrase or sentence is a direct quote. It is coming from the same sentence in my own research paper. Because if you will put an information, for example, coming from other authors, you need to paraphrase the sentence. Okay, and then if, for example, you just copy and paste the exact words mentioned in the other authors, you need to put a quotation mark. Next is paraphrasing. Okay, this is what I mentioned a while ago. So to avoid a plagiarism, we need to paraphrase your information that you put in your research paper. So what you're going to do is you need to rewrite the information in your own words. Okay, you need to remember that. If you paste something information in the part of your research paper, you need to rewrite again the information in your own words. So what will happen if you will not rewrite? You'll just copy and paste. So you will have this plagiarism. Okay, you just copy and paste. So it is not allowed. It is unethical in the academic writings. And if you will put something and then you are not, so there's a two option. Okay, for example, you have this information coming from other authors, you need to paraphrase that. If you're not going to paraphrase that, but you are going to write the same phrases or sentence, you need to put a quotation mark. Okay, you need to put a quotation mark like this. So again, it is very important that you need to understand this, that you need to paraphrase your information in your research paper. It needs that it the idea is coming from other authors and you rewrite it in your own words, not just copy and paste. The third one is always cite both quoted and paraphrase material. Okay, in order for you to have this nice output of your research paper, it is nice that you have this quotation and also paraphrasing of your information or paraphrasing of the materials. So you have this combination of quoting and paraphrasing. Now let's proceed to the reference list basics. Again, the reference list is found in the last part of your research paper. So for this semester, you only have this proposal or chapter 1. But still, you need to have this reference list. Again, if we will just summarize according to our previous discussion, that you have this cover page, okay, cover page, table of contents, and we have this other details, but we have this chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and then we can find that a reference list. So in our observation, we have this cover page, table of contents, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and reference list. Since you are still in proposal, you need only to accomplish from cover page to chapter 1. Okay? Though you are not yet um, doing the chapter 2 and chapter 3, but still you need to comply the reference list. Because in chapter 1, you are already citing a sources. And if you cite a sources, just like in our discussion in the in-text citation, you need to put also that in your reference list. Okay? But don't worry, I'm going to show you the sample research paper. So we will proceed now in the reference list basics. This is only a basic. A comprehensive list of all authors cited in the paper. Again, we can find the reference list in the last part of your research paper, and there is a list of all sources cited in your paper in chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. Okay? And next, entries are arranged alphabetically by the author's last name. Okay? So there is an arrangement of the list of the sources, and it must be alphabetically. It is not based on who is the first author cited on your paper, but we will arrange the reference list according to the alphabet. Okay? Based on the last name of the author. Next, hanging indents. First line is flush left and subsequent lines indented. So this is the format for the reference list. There is a hanging indentation in which we are going to discuss, or I will teach you, or I will demonstrate to you how to format your paper using the hanging indentation. Okay, again, for the reference list, what is the format? Having this hanging indentation, and we will arrange alphabetically. So what is the elements or the format if you are going to cite, I mean if you put these sources in the reference list? So according here, the author's last name and then the first initial. In the in-text citation, you are not allowed to put the first initial of the author, only the last name and then the year. But in the reference list, you need to put the last name and then the initial, first initial. I'm going to share to you in the next slide. I'll just have a overview on this part. And also you need to put the date of publication, same in the in-text citation, and title of the work. And it must be italicized. Next is the source, for example, if it is a book, journal, or website. And lastly, additionally, elements like volume, page number, volume 5, or page number 25 to 36, or the DOI, okay, or digital object identifier. So I'll show you an example of a reference list. For example, if this is a book, need to put the author, the last name of the author, first initial or first name initial, and then the middle name initial, and you need to put the year of publication, title of work, okay, what's the title of the book, title of the article, and it is important that you need to know the capital letter also for subtitle and who is the publisher of that book. So this is the example format for the book. And how about for a journal article? Same format, you need to put the last name of the author, first initial, okay, or first letter of the first name, first letter of the middle name, and then the year of publication, title of the article, title of the journal, the volume number, issue number, page range, and then the DOI or the URL. And how about if you have this website? Same also, you need to put the author's last name, first letter of the first name, first letter of the middle name, year, month, day of publication, title of web page, and website name, and also the URL. Now let's proceed to missing information. What to do when some information is missing? For example, if there's no date, okay? For example, if there's no date here, there's no date that we can read in the article. So what we're going to do, instead of putting 2019, for example, we're going to use the ND. For example, Kano, comma, J, it's because my name is Jason, and then B for Beltran. And then open parenthesis, for example, if I don't know the name, I mean, if I don't know the date of the sources, I will just put N period and then D period close parenthesis. It means that no date. Okay, there's no date put in the article, so you don't know the date. So you will put ND. Next, you're going to use the et al for three or more authors. If there are three or more authors, you need to put et al. Now let's proceed to the online sources. If it is in online sources, we are going to use the URL or DOI for online sources. And you need to avoid using the shortened URLs. Provide retrieval dates for sources that may change over time. Some styles in putting this in sources in the reference list, they will write retrieve from website and then on the date in which you able to get that information or idea. Why we need to put a date, uh, the time that we cite the source, because there is a change over time. There's a big possibility that the information or data on that time will be changed. So it's important that we need to put retrieval dates and sources. Now there are different citation tools in order for us to have this. We can easily accomplish this task in putting citation and also in the reference list. Okay, others are using the EndNote, Zotero, and RefWorks. Okay, so it's up to you if you're going to use the EndNote, Zotero, and RefWorks. But I will suggest in your part, I think it is advisable that you will just use the um, traditional or manual without using any citation tools. Okay. One reason for that is because I want you to have this experience or not asking help from any citation tools, so that you have this full experience and knowledge in citing sources or formatting in the 7th edition. Because if we are going to use a citation tools, the the system or the application will help you to have this um, automatic format of the sources. Okay, so the tendency, if you are using this instant formatting of these sources, there's a big possibility that we can easily forget the standard. Okay, and then how these tools can help automate the citation process. It's very helpful because the application or system will help us to cite the sources according to the format. But again, it is not accurate 100% because there's also limitations when using the advanced technology. So thank you for your listening. And now I'm going to share with you some examples of in-text citations and in the reference list. Okay, just for a moment. So here we have an example here, the in-text citation. In this example, we have these two authors. Okay, based on my discussion, we put the parentheses, the last name of the author, and we put the shortcut of and the second author, comma, year of publication, and then close parenthesis, period. Okay, this is an example of a in-text citation. And you can observe this citing sources found in the last part of the paragraph. Okay, again, this is the format if we will put in the last part of the paragraph. But they have different format if we will put in the first part of the paragraph. So we'll find an example of the um, sources that is written in the first part of the paragraph. Again, this is the example of format written in the last part of the paragraph. All the information was put in the parentheses. But in the first part, as you can notice here, the parentheses or the information that is put in the parentheses is only the year of publication. Okay, in this case, only the year of publication is put inside the parentheses. The last name of the author is outside the parentheses. Okay, again, this is the example of citing in-text citation if we will put the source in the first part of the paragraph. And then this is the example of if we cite the source in the last part of the paragraph. As you can notice, all the information is put in the parentheses. But in the first part of the paragraph, only the year of publication. And also in this example, we can see here, it means they have the use the et al. It means that the author is three or more authors. Okay, so this is the first author, Mr. Jackson, and there are also other authors. They put et al. Again, we need to notice here that there's no period after the et, only in the al. Okay, after al, period, comma, and then year of publication. Okay, I hope that it is clear. You need to take note on this part because this is very important. Also, this is the example of two authors. Okay, Mensa and Casadibao. And then this is the example of first author. Now let's proceed to the example in the... Okay, another example here. Beside the source in the first part of the paragraph, only the year of publication were put in the parentheses. The last name of the author is outside the parentheses. Okay, again, this is the format. If you cite the source and then you put it in the first part of the paragraph. And also, this is the example of three or more authors. Again, they use the et al. And then, as you notice here, there's no comma. Why there's no comma? Because the parentheses is only put, the parentheses, the year of publication was put in the middle of the parentheses. Okay? The time that we are going to use the comma if all information was put inside the parentheses. Okay. So we'll show you again the example. This one. Um, oops. Okay, this one. As you can notice, the information was put inside the parentheses. That's the time that you are going to use or put comma. Okay. Again, this is the format if the sources is coming from the last part of the paragraph. Okay, there is a comma here. But if you're going to put in the first part of the first part of the paragraph, there is no comma. The parentheses only was put in the year of publication. Okay, et al. Period, no comma in the first part of the paragraph. Now let's proceed in the reference. I'll show you example of reference. So these are the examples of a book. So there's a lacking word here. It must be a reference list. Okay. Because according to BICE Unified Format, we're going to use the reference list. In this part, this is not BICE Unified Format. Okay, so this is the example of hanging indentation that I mentioned a while ago. Okay, seems like there is a indentation in the next or the second or third line of the paragraph, of the reference. So as you can notice, this is the different format. in the in-text citation, because in the in-text citation, we need to put only the last name of the author without the first letter of the author, or first letter name of the author. Okay, but in the reference list, it is needed to put the first letter of the first name of the author. For example, here Bromberg, comma Z, period, and then year of publication. Okay. And how about if we have these two or three more authors, we need to emphasize or put all the last name of the authors. Okay, Elzen, Gills, and Green, three authors. But if we will put this in the in-text citation, we will put Elzin et al. But in the reference list, we need to put all the last name as well as the first letter of their first name. Okay, so these are the examples of the reference list. Now I'm going to show you how to have this hanging indentation. Just open my Microsoft Word. Example, I will put this reference. Okay, so I'll just write here example reference list. Okay, reference list. So question now is how to put a or to format this with the hanging indentation. So what you're going to do is to highlight all the information. Again, for example, this is the author or the source. So we'll just copy and paste here to have a concrete example. Okay. So this format is not a, there's no hanging indentation. Okay. Because if there's hanging indentation, it must be like this one. Oh no. It must be like this one. But this is not the right thing to have this hanging indentation. It's as because as you notice, when I enter the when I click the enter, there's a space in between. So that is not the right format. So I'll just delete this one. Okay. So what we're going to do to have this hanging indentation, highlight the information, click on this part. Okay. Paragraph settings, click on that, and then click special, choose the special, click on this part, and click hanging. Okay. This is for hanging indentation. So once we click this one, then click OK. There you go. So this is the hanging indentation. So thank you for listening because my laptop is running out of battery. And then don't forget to answer the evaluation quiz and don't forget to review this discussion. If possible, you have to take note or you have this screenshot of this video. If you have any questions, just drop it down in our group chat and I will answer your question. Bye bye. Thank you.